Today we're going to take a short pause from deer hunting and address what's really on your mind this time of year, and that's turkey hunting. So I hope you enjoy this special episode of Turkey Talk Now. We've all had that hung up gobbler. You know the guy stands back there in the woods 100 yards, maybe out in the field. He gobbles and gobbles and gobbles, but he just won't come into your call. You know, you've got about 3 options that I can think of. The first one is just to stay put. The second option is to get up and leave, to make a move. The next thing I want to talk about is run and gun hunting. Now, the truth be known, probably the best way to kill a mature tom is to sit tight and stay still. It's every time you get up, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. It's those eyes, they'll get you just about every time. But having said that, I love run and gun turkey hunting. But I approach it a lot like I approach still hunting deer, very slowly, very deliberately. So what I'll do is I'll get up next to a tree, I'll do some calling, and if I don't get a response, then I'll just pick another tree, maybe 50 yards over here, and I'll work my way slowly toward that tree, and I won't do any calling until I get to that tree. I don't want to get caught out in the open here with that tom moving in my direction. So again, I'll just sneak slowly. And get over to the next tree, and again I can just drop right down here. If I get a response from a gobbler that's over the hill or something right over there, I can just drop down and I'm ready to start calling. Fanning or reaping turkeys has become very popular in recent years because it's so effective. But there are a lot of different ways that you can use a fan for luring in a tom. One way is just to use it as part of your decoy spread. You might have a couple of hen decoys out here in front of you. You can either plant that fan and use it as a stationary decoy. What a lot of guys do is use the fan to ambush turkeys. You might have a tom that's hung up out in a field and you need to close some ground. What you can do is get behind that fan and work your way out toward that turkey. Now a lot of times you can use the fan and you can get all the way out there to where you're in range with your shotgun or your bow. But a lot of times, at some point that tom out there, he's going to come over and he's going to confront this other tom. Now a way that I really like to use the fan a lot is if I'm run and gun hunting. What I do is when I'm sneaking along, I'm going through the woods or going through an area like this, if all of a sudden I bump a tom, I'll just freeze and I'll pull that fan out. I'll start moving it around a little bit. And then what I'll often do is I'll just try to back out of the situation until I can get back to some cover where I can get down. I can either use a decoy at this time or I can start calling. And now I've got a good setup here. That tom is calm and I can try to lure him back in. Now obviously, there's some safety concerns when you're using a fan like this. You don't want to use a fan, you don't want to use fanning on public ground. It's just too dangerous. But on private land, where you know you're the only hunter out there, very effective. Just try to be careful. What I try to do is, whenever I'm fanning, I try to stay out in a fairly open area. That way, if any other hunters happen through, they're going to be able to quickly recognize what's going on.